live on location. This is the Between the Benches podcast, where we will discuss anything and everything hockey related. Let's drop the puck and get the action underway. All right, welcome in everybody to another episode of the Between the Benches podcast. I'll try to make a nice space so you can grab something to drink, Brock, but that is just so damn too bad. Too bad.
Thank you.
That is too bad. But we are the Between the Benches podcast, brought to you by Old City Sports Network. Make sure to check out oldcitysports.com for all your favorite Philadelphia podcasts, articles, blogs, and more. Make sure to use the promo code OldCity for 15% off site-wide. You can also use Benches15 as the code for our merch store. Benches15 will get you 15% off at that merch store. And we are happy to be with you live on location. How is everybody doing this evening?
Hey, I'm in a great mood, let me tell you. It's just what I needed right now. I am excited for this.
Yeah. Tell me, Brock, how thirsty are you right now?
Somebody pump faked us 3 times. Okay, we're going live now. Okay, wait. Just one second. Okay, we're going live now. No, wait. Just one second. That's right. Fuck it. I'm gonna run to the fridge that's 6 feet away from me, and as I go to stand up, and he scores. Blaring in my ear. No, don't do that.
Well, we are here.
We're here. It's always a pleasure. Live. We're happy to be back. Be that as it may.
We are live. That's absolutely right. Yeah, for sure. Well, good to see you guys. We have a lot of hockey to get to. Give me just a second. There we go. Sorry. We got a lot of hockey to get to. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? So let's go around the rink. And Around the Rink is sponsored by IronSteelThreads.com. Make sure to check out the great hoodies, shirts, and other apparel. They have new designs each and every month. So it's nice refresher, especially coming into the summer months. They're made here in the USA. And you can use the promo code OldCity10 for 10% off. The first thing I wanted to get to is going to really tickle my heart. I know it's not going to make you guys feel any better, but we have to play Freebird. So the United States, they struck gold, fellas. They struck gold at the World Championships for the first time in nearly a century. So the first time since 1933, the U.S. has won the tournament. Tage Thompson scored the golden goal 2 minutes and 2 seconds into overtime to give the United States a 1-0 victory over Switzerland. Is this a big deal? Tell me. I know it's it's not an exhibition like Four Nations. It's an actual tournament, right?
Okay.
So tell me how big of a deal this is for. I guess maybe not even just for. I mean, obviously international hockey is always a big deal, right? But is this a big deal in the grand scheme of things? Is it just a good tune-up for the Olympics? Tell me how this goes.
Well, I mean, outside the Olympics, this is as big as it gets for international hockey, really.
Well,
and aside from Four Nations.
Yeah.
So anytime you can get a win there, that just speaks to how talented your country is. But I mean, not only that, you overcome the drought where you said it was 1933. Yeah, I'd say that's a big deal. I mean, USA's been a workhorse for hockey for years now. And so it's actually surprising that this is their first gold in that time.
Is it though? Is it? I don't know.
I can think of 2 colors that would prevent them.
That's absolutely it. I mean, I can simplify this in one question: is if you think this is a big deal or not, Dalton. Is it best on best?
I would say no, because Russia's not there.
You'd have a point, but I think there's other reasons why I think it's a no to that question, which is why, I mean, don't treat it like it's nothing. But do you honestly think an NHL player is negotiating? Hey, man. They're negotiating their contract and, oh, no, I won the 2022 World Championships with our ECHL level players. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it has the same ring to it when it's not best on best. That's just me.
No, Olympics will be the true test, but absolutely take the win. And what a golden, have you guys seen the slow motion of Tage's golden?
Oh, yeah.
Goal?
I have not.
I can watch that all day. Toe drag
the defender,
right over the leg of the defender, under the arm, going for the block shot, top corner, beautiful.
Yeah, and we are live on Instagram, by the way. We have Mike Napolitano is in the chat. Shout out to Mike.
I know that name.
And we also have Memphis Denny is in here. So shout out to Memphis. We got the youngin in here. So happy to have you guys with us. You guys have any thoughts, questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We're also live on Facebook and Instagram, so shout out to everybody there. But yeah, we've got international hockey moving forward. United States. I mean, the rosters are going to look a little different come Olympic time next year, eh? But also, I thought it was very ironic how Tage Thompson did score this goal, and he was not on the Four Nations face-off team, which makes no sense to me. But that's a completely different conversation.
No, they made a an educated decision. They wanted to have Chris Kreider, Vincent Trocheck, some of the older guard as opposed to the young blood, and I think they made the right call.
That is fair. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, of course, coming from you, of course they did. All right, whatever.
Say,
all right,
I feel like I should have put a little more sarcasm on that.
Don't worry. I'm just trying to ignore you altogether. So. Well, actually, it's because your mouth hasn't moved in about 5 minutes. But anyway, up next, we have the New York man in charge. So Matthew Darche, is that right? Darche?
Try again.
Matthew Darcy?
No, again.
Darche. No, I've already.
That was warmer.
Darche.
Matthew Darche.
Matthew Darche. Okay, so Matthew Darche has been hired as the general manager and executive vice president of the New York Islanders. If you are not familiar with him, he most recently spent his last couple of years as a GM for the Lightning, and he was also the director of hockey operations for Tampa Bay. Assistant GM. Assistant GM, that is correct. And then he was also director of hockey operations with the Lightning. So he did help the Lightning win back-to-back Stanley Cup championships in 2020 and 2021. Outside of that, do we think it's a good fit for the Islanders? What was your first initial reaction, Graham?
Just kind of a position that needed filled, really. I mean, he's got big shoes to fill with Lou Lamoriello and everything he's done for hockey. But when it comes to the Islanders, they're kind of a wild card in which way they can go. So I feel like they were really flexible in who they could hire for that decision. So the fact that they landed on Matthew, I think, I'm excited to see where he wants to take him.
Brock?
I feel like I'm more optimistic about this hire now than I was a few days ago, because apparently there was a chance he'd be in some capacity reporting to Lou Lamoriello still. So it's like, Jesus, guys, either can the guy or don't. Otherwise, it's still going to be his team. So I'm more optimistic now with what it seems like Darche has been handed the keys to the kingdom, really. So like Graham said, they have a lot of different directions they could go. We can talk more about what we think they should do in the offseason, so I'll save that for then. But the next month is going to be exciting if you're an Islanders fan. You got the first overall pick. You have, I believe, no crazy expiring deals this year, so maybe they can get creative moving roster players in, roster players out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, we can get into more specifics in the offseason, but I'm very optimistic about this hire. I think it's no secret that the Lightning have been one of the best front offices for the better part of the last decade. So it's no surprise they're getting picked apart. Like, this is just another piece. I believe they have another gentleman. I think Stacey Roost, I think is his name. I remember thinking like, ooh, that's an interesting name when I heard it. But apparently he could be going somewhere in a larger role. So that's two main pieces in the same year they could be losing. So Brisebois' staff is going to look a little different next year, but on the island, I'm excited. I am very, very interested to see what they do in the next month or two.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely the biggest question surrounding the Islanders now is what do they do with that first overall pick? But like you said, we'll save that conversation for a later day. I just thought it'd be something to touch upon here. We'll transition next into the Boston Ice Party. So the Boston Bruins have named Marco Sturm as their next head coach.
Oh, for two.
Sturm. Anyway, I'm American. Leave me alone. Marco Sturm has been hired for the Boston Bruins. It's fine because I misspelled it. That's funny. As the next head coach, he became the fourth European head coach in NHL history. The 46-year-old coach most recently was the head coach of the Ontario Reign of the AHL from 2022 to 2025. He's also an assistant coach for the LA Kings from 2018 to 2022, and he was the German national coach from 2015 to 2019. So, Brock, first initial reaction on this hire. Was there any kind of initial reaction, or is it only time will tell?
I did have my initial reaction was I like it. I hate it from a Leafs fan perspective, obviously, because it's always about the Leafs.
Why do you
But
hate it from his perspective?
because I think he's a good coach.
Oh, okay.
Division. Yeah, he's a good coach. I heard, now this is going back to COVID years. I forget which podcast it was on, but they were talking about that German national team and the work that he specifically had done with it. And that's why I'm quoting him as I think this is going to be interesting, because I think that he has a bit of a fresh perspective. And we're, at least here on this podcast, we advocate for, new blood. Everybody should get their first chance more often than this recycling of coaches and GMs all the way around. So I am very interested to see what he does next season, because Boston, I think, is in an interesting place. They're going to magically inject Lindholm and McAvoy at their top pair back into the lineup, which I think was the biggest reason they just decided to retool this year. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I think that Boston will bounce back next year, but how much, I think, depends on if they want to continue the retool or jump back in headfirst into the ocean.
Yeah, no, I think he's obviously a great coach and he's done well everywhere he's went. But what really fascinated me about this hire is, he's the fourth European coach in NHL history. But when you look at the Bruins roster of players they have signed for next year, there's not a lot of North American blood.
Yeah, you're right. Because like Pasternak is Czech. Yeah, that's fair. What is Geeky?
Geeky's he's Canadian.
Okay.
You have McAvoy, Middlestat. But you got Lindholm, Pasternak, Zacha. They're like, you just look at the list of names, like Lindholm, Zadorov. Like, there's lots of international names. So I think you bring a coach with international flavor. I think it can really have the opportunity to mesh well, and we could see a different Bruins play style this coming season.
No, that's definitely a good call. I didn't think about it, but yeah, they're definitely thinking ahead. This is definitely one of the teams that you could see going either way. They could either be top of the Atlantic or fighting for the top of the Atlantic spot, or they could be in the basement kind of punting for next year. So I think it'd be really interesting to see what Marco does with the fellas. And Brock, to your point, to just inject your two best defensemen back into your lineup. Hopefully a healthy Charlie McAvoy goes a real long way to building toward playing meaningful games in April and June and so on. So fair enough. Well, we'll definitely see what happens there. And then the last coaching search that got found today was the Steel City. So the Penguins have officially, sources have told us that.
I was going to say, is this official? Because I haven't heard yet.
As far as I know, I have sources close to the situation that have reached out to me to let me know that the Caps are close to closing in on Mitch Love as a position to be named for the Penguins head coach. So let me double check real quick.
You just mixed together the Penguins and the Capitals with that last sentence.
I did. So it also, according to the internet, he is going to be the head coach for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so he comes over from the Capitals. He was an assistant.
There we go. Okay.
I have first thoughts on this one. I'm not too keen on Mitch Love, other than him being around. Dufferrod is back in the chat. He says the stars are done. Don't worry, Dufferrod. We'll get there. But as far as Mitch Love is concerned, what do you guys think?
I mean, you say you're not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of the Penguins either. I don't think they're in a position to succeed. So I don't know if Mitch Love is kind of like an interim to get them through the dark times or not. But I don't expect any game-changing things to be coming out of that locker room.
I would echo that. I think that it's fair to maybe take away some of the emphasis of the coach, this new coach, and add it to the fact that this roster is just not very good. So any meaningful expectations on the coach, I think, are unfair. I will add that I've heard very minimal talk about this coach. I think he was getting some consideration for the Calgary job, which was a year or two ago, whenever that was. That would be the first time I ever heard his name. And again, even then, I didn't hear much about him. So I think with Graham, I would just go into this with low expectations. I think this could be maybe something to the akin of Blashill in Detroit, or even who was the coach that took over in Chicago like 4 or 5 years ago? I forget his name. The expectations on them were unreasonable, I guess is what I'm saying. Like Blashill just got hired in Chicago because he probably is a good coach that was dealt a shitty hand. So I would limit expectations and treat this as more as this is his first dip in the water, sure, but the team he's using to get that, initial dip isn't exactly ideal or stellar or
Yeah.
anything good.
And Mitch was considered for the Calgary head coaching job because he was the head coach of the AHL affiliate team.
Oh, well, there you go.
Before
Explain
joining the Capitals, and they led the WHL Saskatchewan Blades during the 3 preceding years.
We're gonna stop.
We're doing a whole episode this summer where we're just gonna. Here's the word. Dalton's gonna try to Saskatoon.
Saskatoon
or Saskatchewan. You blended them both together.
Yeah, I did.
Saskatoon.
Mike said Jeremy Colleton was the
Colleton. Thank you, Mike. That is absolutely correct. That is.
I'm gonna say it. He's our Chicago hockey guy. Mike.
That is the guy. So, that is the man.
By the way, you can check out Mike on Saturday mornings on the Rise, WRMN 1410 on YouTube or wherever you listen to your radio stations. You can catch him live then. So, but yeah, that was the coaching searches. According to the internet, by the way, it still says that he is the leading candidate for the Penguins head coaching job. So my sources, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say my sources are telling me that assistant coach Mitch Lev is going to be the Penguins' next head coach. So
he's not willing to pull the trigger. He's just saying it's sources.
He also was Mitch Lev was also considered a finalist for the Boston Bruins head coaching job. So
yes, I did hear that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mike said his PTSD is triggered by you mentioning.
That's yeah.
All right. Well, fair enough. Well, we'll get into what everybody came here for. We're gonna go to live reaction. We're gonna go over Panthers and Hurricanes. This is brought to you or sponsored by decalsbyaaron.com. Make sure to check out our man Aaron. Let him know that Between the Benches sent you, and he'll get you situated on your decals. But it's official. The Florida Panthers have punched their ticket to go back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the 3rd year in a row. I don't know if I could just remember how far we've come because, what was it? Maybe 8 to 10 years ago, the Panthers were literally not relevant whatsoever, and now they seem to be arguably. I mean, you guys said Dallas was the most complete team, but I think this team is just really scary. I think the biggest thing too is most importantly, they've kind of kept the injury bug away. You mentioned it before, Pod Brock, that Reinhart was back in the lineup tonight. I think that was a huge boost for them. That's going to be a huge boost for them moving forward. So first thoughts, what do we think of this series? The Panthers are Hurricanes.
I'll say this, and then I want Graham to maybe throw some color in here because he's probably got a few stats. The long and the short of it, the Hurricanes were never in this series. I like the pushback in game 4 and 5, but frankly, they're just not as good as Florida. And it's just so abundantly clear. And Carolina has acknowledged their clear lack of that star talent up top. And Graham and I have had plenty of arguments over the years about how you have to have star talent to win. It's just non-negotiable. In the last, I think we looked at 20 years, it just doesn't happen. The closest thing to it would have been the Blues, and I'd argue Pietrangelo is a star. I'd argue Ryan O'Reilly at that point in his career was a star.
Yeah, future Hall of Famer.
Tarasenko, I don't know if I put him up there, but he was definitely in the prime of his career.
Colton Parayko.
I wouldn't put him as a star.
Moving
Good
on.
player, not a star.
At least I could say his name right, damn it.
You did say his name right. So I guess to bring this back, they tried to acquire star talent. They tried to get Rantanen, and then they fumbled the ball in the Stankoven trade because they ran out of time to use those picks to upgrade their team now. They had how many millions? I think 12 million. I don't want to put a number on it, but they had a lot of money in cap space they didn't use. Which to me, when you're going for it, is just objectively, by the deadline, you should be capped out every single year if you think you're a contender. That's non-negotiable for me. So that right there is mistake number 1, I guess, when you think about this entire year for the Hurricanes. How
they're projected to have $28 million in cap space this summer.
Right.
Yeah, so I can only imagine how much they have right now. They probably have some on that number.
They still have those two first round.
Actually, that's current. That's a current cap space situation. Is they have 28.4 million.
That would have. I think Puckpedia has rolled over on that. If you're using Puckpedia,
yeah,
I think they've rolled over to next year. So that would be for this off season what the cap space would be. I don't know. Like I said, for me, it's just clearly they need to change something about the way they play against, the actual elite teams, because they never once looked in this series. Not once.
The way I see it is when we talk about the superstar talent, right? they have great players on this roster all throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a breakout year for Martin Necas.
Mm-hmm.
And then you acquire Rantanen, which costs you Necas.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get rid of Rantanen and you go for futures in Stankoven. So by acquiring Rantanen, they not only lost Necas, but they also lost Rantanen. They got worse this year.
Again, I kind of hinted at that when I said, like, they fumbled they ran out of time to use those picks to get the now. It turned into a future.
It wasn't a fumble. They lost. Like, they did not recover it at all. It was a full-on turnover.
Okay, hold on. Imagine we're talking about they use one of those firsts for Brock Besser this year.
Sure. Didn't happen.
I understand. That's why it's still a mistake, but I'm just saying, like, it's only futures because they fumbled the timing. They fucked up on the timing of the trading away Rantanen trade.
No, they fucked up because they didn't do their homework to see if they can sign Rantanen.
Well,
that whole Rantanen deal was done in the middle of the night, and it was kind of, I don't want to say thrown together, but I almost think the Colorado did it.
Now, if this was the last year, and
out.
Don't get me wrong, Necas was still a great player last year, but he wasn't the player he was this year. If this was last year, I don't think we're having this conversation.
Maybe. That's even more revisionist.
Like, Necas is still a great player then, but his breakout year this year
was this
when
year.
We talk about star players, he was a star player.
Yeah, his value had never been higher. I do agree with that.
And they landed the better player in the deal, which is why, I don't know. To me,
then you had the emergence of Seth Jarvis this year too.
He's been good for like 2 years now. Like last year.
Yeah, but now he's like coming out into a star.
People are sleeping.
But he's always good.
People are sleeping on Seth Jarvis. He's really, really good. We'll see what they do again in the next month or so. Like, I'm trying not to get ahead, put the cart ahead of the wagon here, or put the horse ahead of the. I don't know.
I mean, thing works. The horse is already dead. They're out. What are you talking about?
I guess they're not going anywhere. It's a turn of phrase, dumbass. It's not. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. Is all I'm trying to say. Like, I don't want to speculate on what I think they should do just yet. Like, they just got eliminated. I just think that the writing was on the wall after the first 2 games of this series. Like, for me, that's when it was over. The way they lost those first 2 games. Like, they just never once looked in it.
On home ice.
On home ice. Like, that's unacceptable.
Do you want a hot take?
Sure.
That the Leafs should definitely run it back, because the way they actually competed with the Panthers, the way this Eastern Conference final went down, like, the Leafs were like the one team that actually pushed Florida to like an actual brink, if you will. They actually were the only team that actually kind of looked like they could push Florida around a little bit. I mean, Florida had 246 hits in 5 games in this series. And like, to your point, Carolina never looked like they were ever going to get anywhere. And at least Toronto came out in the semis and defended home ice. They look like
they did they? How game 5 and 7 go? Oh wow!
Well, I'm just telling you, for the very beginning of that series, like, they blew. I hate to backtrack here, but that series was lost in game 3, in my opinion. But anyway, I think that's the spin zone here. Is that the big win, like the big winner, or like I don't know if it's the big winner or the big loser. Honestly, we could probably argue about that forever. But like, yeah, I mean, Toronto was like literally the only team in the East that could put up with Florida. Like, you kept telling me how great Tampa was, and they couldn't even hang with Florida for a minute. So
I'll leave you with this, because
you'll leave me with this.
I'll leave you with this.
Yeah,
we have a very large podcast in the works right now. We're going to do a whole episode on the Leafs, so don't you worry. We will touch on your just general sentiments there about how you could quote unquote rationalize a run it back, because they took Florida to 7 and Florida dismantled the other 2 teams. It's a shitty rationale, but you can make it. You could make it.
Yeah, the odds that both free agents would sign 1-year deals to even risk the run it back, I think that's very low.
Stupid.
We'll see. But yeah, for Florida Panthers moving forward, they did, like I said, they had a bunch of hits in the 5 games. They have 246 in this series, plus their 784 in the playoffs. So they have 1,030 hits so far.
Pound their D.
Which is crazy. They are shooting 14% as a team, which is incredible. Obviously, the injury bug has kind of gone away since everybody they got Greer back tonight. They got Reinhardt back tonight. Go ahead.
Is that all situations, 14% or 5-on-5?
I think it just said shooting percentage on hockey.
I'd assume
reference.
that's okay. I'd assume that's all situations then.
I would assume that's all situations.
I'd be curious to know what that is at 5-on-5. I'd be curious.
The one stat that I really like too is they have 10 players with 10 or more points this postseason so far. Just to put that in perspective, the Canes had 3. The Canes had 3 players that had 10 points or more in this postseason. So they're literally getting contributions up and down the lineup, and the physical play that they have is just, I mean, it's obviously unmatched. But tough way for Carolina to go out. I don't know how you can find any optimism. I mean, actually, I lied. They could find a little bit of optimism because they finally won an Eastern Conference Finals game. They won Game 4. They're technically 1-1 in their last 2 games.
Now you're just being mean. Now you're just being mean.
I have fun stats on that, so let me get into that real quick. So, the longest losing streaks in a single round of a postseason.
Yeah,
they have the second longest streak at 15 in losses in the conference final. Nice. Can you tell me who has the biggest streak?
That's the
Toronto.
Second? No.
It is in the quarterfinals, and it was
enough.
From 1975 to 1980. Just pick out a team. We're going to fly through this.
Flyers.
Yeah, sure, Flyers. Montreal.
Chicago Blackhawks lost 18 consecutive quarterfinal games.
Interesting.
13 was the St. Louis Blues in the Stanley Cup Finals. Obviously broke that in 2019. And the LA Kings lost 12 consecutive games to their divisional rival.
Yeah, the Oilers.
That was from 1982 to 1990. So, Canes have the second longest streak for a single postseason series.
Damn. So, they got Freddie locked up for another 2 years on a very team-friendly deal. They've got a lot of cap space to work with. And, Brock, to your point, they got 2 first-round draft picks.
They have 3, technically. I think they still have
3. I think you're right. So, they could definitely make this team a lot better. And Stan Coven has looked good in the postseason. He's actually one of the guys that hasn't scored more than 10 points in the postseason, even though he's got 5 goals, which is just incredible. But, yeah, we'll definitely see how they go moving forward. Just from a Florida perspective, is there a team – does it matter which one of these 2 teams out of the West they're going to play in the finals? Because obviously they beat Edmonton last year, in a very unprecedented fashion, right? Going up 3-0 and then being 3-3 and then literally winning Game 7. But do you see an easier path either way if you're the Florida Panthers?
I'll give you a little context.
Sure.
So it's either they're gonna play Edmonton, who's up 3-1, and they look like they're fucking rolling. Skinner is out dueling Ottinger, which is just
don't get ahead of me. Don't get ahead of me.
Yeah, sorry. It's so they either play the red hot Edmonton Oilers, who win one of the next 3, or it's Dallas wins 3 straight, and now they're probably scorching hot. I don't really think it's gonna be fun either way.
Nor should it be.
Brindamore better not be fired. If he is, and the Flyers didn't. Oh, okay. Didn't wait. I'm gonna be so mad. Yeah. That's yeesh. That's fun. Fun style hockey.
That's why they keep losing. They don't score enough. Yeah. Go ahead, Graham.
Yeah.
Well, should the Panthers face Edmonton, they would be the second time in 40 years that we've had back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals with the same team.
Yeah, do you know? I'm going to say, tell me and educate me.
Teams before that, I believe, was the Chicago Blackhawks and Detroit Red Wings in 08 and 09.
There it is.
So, yeah, it's rare that in this breed of hockey that kind of bleeds equal talent pools where you get back-to-back teams in the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah. I just like how the Colin goes, we should evict all hockey teams from Florida. They get warm weather. They don't need to be good at hockey either. Just throwing that out there. I like that. There was one person talking about that on your ratings comment last week on our social media gram, because obviously you don't have TikTok or Instagram because you're a family man. Anyway.
Took the high road on that one.
I did. But somebody was mentioning how like the warmer climate cities are like all the ones that left which is kind of true because you had Carolina, you had Florida, Edmonton, you had Dallas. 3 out of the 4 cities left are all like warm climate cities. So I thought that was an interesting parallel. But I just, like I said, just little.
And Edmonton.
Yeah, in Edmonton. But
You can just say non-Canadian cities.
Yeah,
Edmonton now.
Edmonton. Edmonton's in the south, right? If you live in the North Pole, it's south of Santa. But anyway,
I was gonna say,
now that you were talking about, now that you're talking about Ottinger, though, we will transition into the Western Conference. Obviously, the Oilers and the Stars. This segment is brought to you by CustomConcessions.net. Make sure to check out CustomConcessions.net. If you need a food truck, you're throwing an event, you're throwing a party, reach out to our friends at CustomConcessions.net. Let them know that Between the Benches sent you. And that is a mouthful for some people on this podcast. But, I mean, the big news came out today. We'll start here with Zach Hyman. Zach Hyman will be out the remainder of the playoffs. He did go he underwent surgery today for an upper body injury. Brock is pointing at his wrist. Jason Marchman actually broke his wrist, which was kind of a nifty hit. It didn't look like much at first, and then he immediately went off the ice. I don't know if he just caught him at a bad angle or if he just caught him at whatever.
When you see a hockey player beeline that quickly, something is wrong.
100%. Yeah,
something
100%.
is wrong. Yeah.
He was on pace to actually break the NHL postseason record for hits in a single postseason. So he's just been a madman.
I can't believe he hasn't already done it.
So his career high in hits for an 82-game season is 117.
Yep.
He had 109 in 14 games this postseason.
That's fucking
in 14
ridiculous.
Games.
That's absolutely.
He was 8 hits short of an 82-game record. Well,
just
personal
insane.
best.
Yeah. Just insane. The other thing, too, if I would have told you guys before this series started that Stuart Skinner was going to outplay Jake Ottinger, would you have believed me?
Absolutely
you would have laughed at me. Yeah,
Absolutely
I was going to say you would have laughed at me, but it's happening. It is. I mean, it is coming to life. Stuart Skinner, just a couple notes on him, by the way. In these playoffs, or I guess in wins this postseason, he has a .985 save percentage and a .39 goals against. That is the highest save percentage and lowest goals allowed in such a stretch for a goalie with a minimum of 5 wins in the modern era. So that modern era goes all the way back to 1943. So playing out of his mind.
The modern era.
I mean, in these playoffs, prior to the last game, Stuart Skinner has either had a save percentage less than .834 or a shutout. Yep. No games in between, really.
100%. Yeah. And then actually, since he retook the crease on May 10th, he is the number 1 goalie in the league in saves above expected in that stretch. Funny thing is, he still doesn't have more wins than Calvin Pickard. So
fucking Oilers, man.
Yeah, so shout out to Calvin Pickard. I'm giving him the C early, baby. Calvin Pickard, you get my C.
God, that's a fun stat.
Yeah. So anything else, you guys?
Skinner's also tied the Edmonton franchise record for most shutouts in a playoff year with 3.
Wow.
Tied with Leafs legend Cujo.
Yeah.
Curtis Joseph.
Cujo played in Edmonton?
Sure did.
God, I'm a recent hockey fan. I only started caring about hockey 12 years ago.
Nice. First time listener,
Cujo,
long time caller. Yeah.
I don't really remember Cujo.
Oh, Cujo was great. Loved his mask.
What a great nickname.
I only knew the Sedins and Crosby when I was in high school. That's really the only two players or 3 players. Sorry.
That you fantasized about?
Yeah,
man.
What?
Also, outside of the be that as may, we are live. Outside of the goaltending for Edmonton, by the way, obviously McDavid and Draisaitl are doing their thing, but Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has really taken his game to another level in this series. He's got multiple points in every game this series, all 4 games. He has 9 total points. He's got 2 goals, 7 assists. Another fun stat for you: Edmonton has 4 out of the 5 top point total. Wow, words are hard. They have 4 out of the top 5 point totals for a single player in this postseason. So they have obviously McDavid, Draisaitl, Mikko Rantanen is 3rd in the playoffs, and then you have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Devin Bouchard round out the top 5. So top 3 players in assists as well as also McDavid, Draisaitl, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So they are just putting the puck in there at will.
Is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins the best first overall pick in this series?
Ooh, that's good. I like that hot take. I like that. Ooh, that's spicy.
Come on, guy on this.
It's got a little stank on it, eh? It's got a little stank. I like it.
Can we start that conversation? I'm gonna have that conversation with Mike on Saturday morning. Actually, that's a good point. I like that.
You get the right person with that one.
David.
Oh, absolutely. You get the right Edmonton fan that believes you believe that. Oh, that'd be so fun. That'd be so fun.
Nice. Is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins the best first overall pick in this series?
Yeah.
That's a good question, Brock. I appreciate that question. That's a great question. I mean, who's better? He's got more
I don't
points.
know.
I mean,
I don't
more
see
points than
one.
he might in
Not in this
series.
series. Yeah.
I
don't
can't
know.
think of a single McPherson.
Yeah, nice. Can't think of a single McPherson. Not one.
Oh man.
Oh.
Also, fun stat for you too.
A+.
Since going down 0-2 to the LA Kings, Edmonton is 11-2 with a plus 23 goal differential. So the Harmonicas, they could. I don't know who's going to beat this team. The Harmonicas can beat this team. They stumbled over the Harmonicas for a minute. And Edmonton, I believe, is 6-1 now at home in the postseason. So they have just been buzzing in their barn, and it's just.
I mean, here's something
crazy.
Should the Kings just run it back with how easy Edmonton is running through?
Also, we got a question in the chat. Dufferrod Dufferrod in the chat also has a good question. Does anyone think that Pete DeBoer is getting out coached in this series?
I mean, Knobloch's had a lot of playoff success with the Oilers now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is this series just frankly come down to goaltending? Is that literally what it's been? Is
I
that one?
have a hard time not boiling it down to that. I just think Ottinger hasn't been good enough. He's been okay at best.
I don't think he's even gotten help though. I mean, they've only scored one goal in back-to-back games.
I
for
couldn't
Dallas.
agree more. You gotta get some runs. But
And
I mean,
maybe the Stars are shooting 6.9% in this series.
Their
overall shooting percentage.
At the net, they're hoping that Skinner is the non-shutout Skinner, and they can put up 7 on him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like
he's making dangerous. Like, what did you
Yeah.
say? He was leading in most saves above expected.
or something.
Yes.
So he's playing great.
Yeah.
Like he's still saving the high danger ones when they get them.
Mhm.
I know that McDavid, I think, is the 9th best defensive player of the poll of like the advanced metrics. I saw something first for offense, obviously, and also 9th. So his two-way play has only gotten to another level. You see Zach Hyman with the hits. You see how this team changes in the playoffs.
Okay.
And you could attribute that to Knobloch. You can attribute that to the individual players, but obviously he's the voice of the room. He's got to have control. He's got to have some sort of credit to it as well.
And what's really scary is they're still going to get Ekholm back. So this team's going to get better
Right.
on the back end. Ekholm hasn't even played yet. And that's what's terrifying, really, if you're going to play against Edmonton, is they're going to get better on defense before they really get any worse. As far as the Dallas situation or the Dallas side of things, Mikko Rantanen hasn't scored a goal in 7 straight games. The Stars as a whole, like I said, I touched on, they were shooting 6.9% in the series. Their power play has gone really cold. They were 3 of 4 in game 1, which is basically the difference in the game if you think about it. They're 1 of 8 in the last 3 games. So they're 4 of 12 in the series, but that, like I said, that's really inflated from game 1. And then Ottinger's only carrying a .869 save percentage, and he's allowing right around 3.5 goals per game. So if you're a Dallas fan or if you're in that Dallas locker room, I mean, what do you have to lean on to get back in this series would be my question. I mean, is the Hyman injury is that a crack in the door at all? Does that move the needle for you guys? Just talk to me.
As a Stars fan, it has to be. Just with the way that you've been losing, any chink in the armor is something that you need to think that you can exploit and take advantage of.
Talk about it from the player's perspective. As a fan, yes, I agree with you. But if I'm a player, I don't think the Hyman injury changes my mentality. So, at least in a meaningful way. I would think that you got to get more out of that top 6. And I know Hintz is
I think
not
it's
100%.
everybody.
But I don't know, man.
Because and just to counterpoint you, 8 Stars are scoreless in this series, including Wyatt Johnston, who's been great for them the first 2 rounds. He is Mr. Game 7 to them. Jamie Benn is scoreless right
Wyatt
now.
Johnson also he's rocking the worst plus minus in the playoffs right now at -17.
Oh, get out of here.
Man.
Like 33%, like a third of them are with an empty net because 6 on 5, you can garner a plus minus. It's stupid. The plus minus is stupid. Get out of here with that stat. I hate it.
It's there.
It's dumb.
Believe it.
It's a stupid stat.
And also, Dadonov is also a part of that scoreless. And I think he actually got scratched in game 4, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't even play him in Game 4.
That is correct.
In which, if you remember the series before, in the Jet series, or excuse me, in the Jet series, and even that first series they had against Colorado, he was definitely one of the key players for the Stars. So I think it's more of the back end. I mean, I think Tyler Seguin leads this team in points right now with 3, and he scored 2 goals in the first game.
I mean, even when the Stars were just battling through Colorado, it was always one guy showing up over the rest. And it was right in most of the games. And when it wasn't, I think Granlund had a hat trick.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And no one's really emerging as the player to put the team on their back each game. Like, we speak to the depth of this team because there's always been one person emerging no matter what line or how many minutes they play. And this season, or this series, they don't have them.
It's interesting you bring up how many minutes people are playing, because what's the thing that I always harp on, Graham, when it comes to this time of year? I always say just play them, like play the wheels off your studs. Like play Rantanen until he literally can't go anymore. But I heard this stat today, which fucking blew my mind. It's very funny. It's funny in an ironic way. In games that Rantanen plays more than 20 minutes, he has 5% of his points in these playoffs. So if he plays less than 20 minutes, that's when he's getting 95% of his points. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
Like
it's not that bonkers though.
Hang on, but you want to play your best players more because ipso facto you think that would generate, better situations on the ice more often than not. They're your best players. But Rantanen, the numbers are telling you that you can't play the brakes off this guy. Otherwise, it's not going to yield success. Like you just said, he hasn't scored in 7 games. Just this past game, I think he played 23 minutes. So it is interesting. But
when you have like 3-goal leads, you're not in the playoffs. You're not wanting to just send everyone for the 4th, right? It's a series. It's not an individual game. You want to make sure that they're ready to go the next game. You don't want to risk injury. Look at like the innocent hint that took Hyman out. Like you can't have that. If you have a 3-goal lead and you are still running the wheels off your top guys and you're putting them at risk, that I think is a coaching flaw.
I understand. I'm not necessarily saying I disagree with that. I just think that when was the last time that Dallas had a 3-goal lead where they could cruise? They haven't had one against Edmonton, so
or Colorado,
and he hasn't had points against Edmonton.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily correlated, but I don't know. Like
that was also part of the conversation when I brought up to you when this team was going to shift back to playing 6 defensemen again instead of 7 defensemen. It was that like they were playing Mikko Rantanen a lot, or they were going to shift to be playing him more in that that 12 forward rotation as opposed to the 11 forward rotation. And I didn't know if that, because I think they were talking about that in game 6 of the second round when they beat Winnipeg, was that they were kind of making your point where literally less or more has been less with this guy as far as like
less is more.
100%. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, as far as like for the Stars, is there anything at all that one thing? If we had to pick one thing that we're going to Game 7 and this is because of why?
Ottinger. If it's one thing, it's Ottinger.
Okay. So it's got to be Jake.
If you're going to make me pick one thing, if I could even pick 2, I'd say I want to see Johnston and Rantanen put a stamp in this series. They haven't showed up yet. Let's see it.
Okay.
Let's see it. They haven't been playing together. I think Johnston's going to get a shot in the top line soon because apparently he's been toiling on the third line, and I think you got to get Johnston going, and Rantanen's got to get going. He hasn't showed up yet in the series. That's my second pick if you're giving me 2.
Okay.
They got to start going. Have to.
There it is. We'll definitely see moving forward. So we will have Game 5 of that series tomorrow night, Thursday. Today's Wednesday. I forget what day. Yeah. Thursday evening, they're playing back in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. So the Breastises will be out, and hopefully the Stars can find their game because they're definitely going to need it. So we'll see what happens. Well, that was the Western Conference. Graham, did you have a stat earlier? Do you want to throw in here, by the way? Is it too late?
You're the timing's not great now, but so when you're talking about the Chicago, I had a stat that there were 2 players. I gotta look it up. You son of a bitch.
That's all right.
We can tap dance. Dalton.
Filibuster,
I love your hat. It's a great hat.
Thanks.
Dalton. All right. So players since 1990 to have back-to-back 60-plus point seasons and a 40-assist season as a teenager. Only 2 players. Who are they?
Oh, is it Connor Bedard? And
Connor Bedard is one of them.
And
Sidney Crosby.
No.
And Sidney Crosby.
Oh, it is Crosby.
Nice.
Okay.
No.
Sorry,
By
you're
the way,
just bringing up the
Rod.
Blackhawks, and you're bringing up bad memories. So I
Nice.
wanted to throw that out there and let them know that there is hope,
Hope you're
and
still
that
here,
don't
Keep that in
let
mind.
them believe or don't let the hype dissolve on Connor Bedard. He is still world class.
He's still up there. Yeah. What does he make the Olympics next year? Hot take.
Yeah,
maybe.
probably.
I say maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 years
I think
into
that's-
his
yeah.
professional career, absolutely.
Okay. Duffer Rod thinks, by the way, if you want to beat the Oilers, you can't let them score first. Dallas needs to get on the board first, get some momentum going early. That's what Duffer Rod was mentioning in our
Yeah.
chat.
No. Do you not remember the first and second round this year when they went down like 2 or 3-0 in a game?
Also, wasn't it the stat where Dallas is like 0-12, I think, like on scoring first on the road this season? Like they haven't scored on the road. They haven't scored first on the road all postseason, I believe. I think I saw
Oh
that
wow!
stat.
I didn't see
Oh,
that.
yeah.
All I
That's
know is
a
Dallas is
recipe for-
0-16 when trailing 3-1 in the series.
Oh,
They
that's
have
nice.
not come back from a 3-1 deficit.
So what you're saying is they're due.
I mean,
Okay.
Carolina can beat their
Gambler's
record.
fallacy. Gambler's
All
fallacy. I love it.
right. Well, fair enough. Well, we do have to get negative on this podcast. We got to put somebody in the bin. Somebody's got to go. So in the bin is sponsored by Warlord Beard Oil. This is Brock's favorite partner we
Sure
have.
is.
Make sure to check out warlordbeardoil.com. Use that promo code old sports for 15% off. Beard oils, washes, soaps, and more. Any order over $75 will get you free shipping. Again, that is our friends over at warlordbeardoil.com. Use that promo code old sports for 15% off. And Graham, who are you putting in the bin this week?
I mean, it's always fun to kick people when they're down in pro
Of
sports.
Okay.
So we're going to go with the Colorado Rockies. They are the first team to reach 40 losses. Their 8-42 record has them on pace to finish 27-135,
Oh, boy.
which is 12 games worse than last year's record-breaking Chicago White Sox.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say that's oh boy.
It is so bad that a fan is actually suing the team. So a fan got hit in the eye by a foul ball, and the fan attributed it to how bad the team has been playing. The exact claim is that the product on the field is so poor that fans were not paying attention to the game.
Yep.
I hope he wins. That would be so
I did
funny.
see this. I
That
saw
would be
that story.
so fucking funny. Oh my
I mean, I feel like if you win,
God.
that changes sports, right?
well,
Tank,
That's-
like you can't tank.
that's why I think he can't
Yeah.
win. That's like that would just set such a crazy precedent. Like, oh my god. I hope he wins.
Would you imagine? That would be.
I hope
that'd
he
be
wins. I hope he wins. That'd be so
Earth shattering. Yeah.
Yes.
We're talking about rewriting the book
funny.
here.
Graham,
that's
we've
for
been
sure.
thinking about anti-tanking things the wrong way the whole time. Like
Yeah.
we've been
It
doing
takes
this all
one
wrong.
fan. It takes one fan to take one for the team, and then we can change the whole culture around here. Oh, by the way, Duffer Rod mentioned that the Dallas has not scored any first period goals at all on the road this postseason. That was the stat I was referring to. So that's insane. Yeah,
That's a
they don't
recipe for disaster, man. You're gonna start
Yeah.
games like that.
they're not having good starts to those road games for sure. Memphis has no shot on them getting that ruling, by the way.
I hope.
Yeah.
he wins.
The 15-year-olds in the chat
Yeah,
let us know that he's got no shot. But hey, hope he probably will be a part of the jury. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Brock, who you put in the bin?
I got two here.
Okay,
The
nice.
Chicago Sky have
Okay.
started the season 0-4, and that's the worst WNBA so far, with a points per game average, I'm assuming, of 94.
No,
And-
they're giving up. They're allowing
Against.
points per game against, not average,
Yeah.
against, with a differential of negative 19.5. Now, I'm not a massive basketball fan, but if you're losing by 20 every single game
on average.
on average,
Like,
Yeah.
how
I
many
think-
points does an average WNBA player get? Because that might have to be 6 on 5 to attribute that deficit.
it might. It's just rough. It just reads really poor. And I also wanted to know, Dalton, why is it called the Chicago Sky? How'd they get that name? Do you know?
I have no idea. They've been around for a minute. I could do some looking if you.
I'd really think I'd appreciate that because to me, I just read like the Chicago Windy City when I saw Chicago Sky, and I'm like, I want to know why it's called that.
Well, where do you think the wind comes from?
That's what I'm saying. It comes from the sky. Everyone knows that.
So the Chicago Sky's name and their blue and yellow team colors are intended to pay tribute to the Chicago city skyline. The team's branding was designed to represent a beautiful day in Chicago, and with the blue and bright sunlight highlighting the city's prominent skyline.
Wow, that's a much more elegant explanation than I was.
Just makes me want chili, honestly, when they keep saying that.
Okay. Moving on. And secondly, I'm going to put Brock Nelson in the bin because he reportedly rejected a trade that would have sent him to Winnipeg at the deadline, so he missed out on going to the second round. But yeah. How dare he choose, Colorado over Winnipeg. I did find that funny though. He chose wrong, but he chose right, all in the same. I don't know. I think it's funny.
I mean, he's still a free agent.
You would have lost the same bet if it was your decision to make.
I absolutely would have lost that bet. Yeah, absolutely would have lost that bet.
That's fair. Well, I have to put the IIHF committee, which I think is the committee that made this ruling, but they officially ruled that Russia is not going to be in the 2026 Olympics. And the biggest bugaboo, I understand the political climate that is surrounding this whole issue. I just think it's kind of serendipitous to allow NHL players from Russia to play in the NHL, but then Russia is not allowed to play in any international competition. Some people were arguing online that they're sending a message to Russia and to the country and the political from yada, yada, yada. But at the same point in time, I feel like that doesn't matter to these people, obviously, because it's still not going to change their actions. But the NHL is the most prominent hockey league in the world.
I have one.
It's the most recognizable one. Go ahead, Brock.
No,
I just don't see the point. I just don't see the point. It's going to bring. I don't know. I think
Dalton that
the IIHF should be they should only care about how much their game is growing and how good the game is. They can't change the political things that are happening around them. So I don't know.
I have two questions.
Brock, I know that yours is going to be more in depth, but Dalton, I think that you're right to be more upset with this in the fact that they were not involved in the Four Nations because that's an NHL event. And you're right that NHL, the hypocrisy of allowing NHL players to play in the NHL, but not in the Four Nations, which is an NHL event.
I can
totally hypocritical.
I can still answer that.
For double IHF, go ahead.
I can still the logic that I'm about to hopefully give to you still follows. IIHF stands for International Ice Hockey Federation. The key word in that being international. So when the teams are playing in those tournaments for those teams, who are they representing?
Their country.
When they play in the National Hockey League, who are they representing?
The owner.
Correct. There's the difference. That's it.
I mean, Russians have been able to play in international competition without representing the flag.
Exactly. It's all about representation. I agree that if they to wholly omit them is, I also think, not necessarily what I would do, because other Russian players have been allowed to play. Just you don't wear Russia's colors. You don't represent. It's all about representation, right? But I understand it in the same breath of the geopolitical atmosphere. And
you know what they should do? I just had this thought. You know what they should? They should just all buy their nationality, like the Bahamas or something, and in that way they could be. We can just have this amazing Bahamas ice hockey team.
That's not how that works.
I mean, isn't that invasion trying or what started this?
Oh, that's okay. I see what you're. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, I guess that's a fair point, Graham. That is a very
just
fair
wants
point.
them to double down.
Dalton just wants to double down. Yeah,
more warm climate hockey teams.
More warm climate. I love it.
Like I said, I understand the geopoliticalness. I'm not in favor of what's going on. Don't get me wrong, but I do think that it's a hockey team. You cannot tell the story of international hockey without including Russia and or the Soviet Union, whatever you want to call them.
It's unfortunate because it does add the asterisk where it's not best on best.
Correct.
Right.
Russia not being there is unfortunate, but in my personal opinion, understandable.
And plus, it's going to be Ovechkin's and Malkin's last run at international hockey. It's going to be they would be their last, basically hoorah, if you will. And
Russia would have a great team. Graham and I did this exercise one afternoon.
Best team. Are you kidding me?
No, they wouldn't have the best team, but they'd have a good
weak on D.
They're very weak on defense. They're very weak on D.
Weak on defense, weak on centers.
Yes, and their centers are weak. Their wingers are Whoa.
Amazing.
As good as any team. Yeah, as
All
good as any
world.
team. Yeah,
Literally.
as good as any team.
So
We could maybe
but
do that in the off season for fun. We could do
there you go.
We could do
There
that
you
too.
go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're putting them in the bin, and that was brought to you by our friends at Warlord Beard Oil. Again, make sure to check out warlordbeardoil.com. Use that promo code OldSports for 15% off, and you get free shipping when you buy $75 or more.
And it works from head to toe, I heard.
Nice.
I
Yeah, I was going to
Nice.
say, speaking of brands, well, we are going to transition into the positive side of this podcast. We're going to give out your C, or the C, if you will. And this is brought to you by SeatGeek. Make sure to download the SeatGeek app and use promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off your first purchase, courtesy of your friends here between the benches. Use that promo code. Check out, NBA playoffs are still going on. Brock, your Pacers are still alive. They're leading 3-1. You just became a Pacers fan after last week.
Sure did.
But yeah, use that promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off on the SeatGeek app. Brock, big Canada daddy. Who are you giving the C to this week?
Team USA, and not for their gold medal win. We already talked about that, but for the way they celebrated said win. I believe it was Werenski that ran to the dressing room and
ran.
Oh yeah.
Literally ran.
Oh yeah. To the dressing room to get the Gaudreau jersey to bring it to the ice. And if you haven't seen the clips, I heavily encourage you to seek them out. It's a wonderful touch. If you haven't, followed the Jackets this year and the run they've been on, to see Werenski do that. And I'm assuming it wasn't just Werenski that had these sentiments. The entire Team USA, I'm sure, was in on the gesture. It's very, very heartwarming to come full circle with it. It's just great. It's just great. Wonderful, wonderful. Easiest C I'll ever give out. Easiest C I'll ever give out.
He literally waddled. He power waddled.
Oh yeah.
Because I can imagine running on ice skates is gotta be a nightmare.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's a little
shout out to Brittany Crawford in the chat, by the way. She's just joining us this evening. So all the way from Winnipeg Mountain. Yeah.
Winnipeg Mountain.
Yeah. I wonder how she feels if they would have gotten Brock Nelson.
She probably doesn't feel anything. Honestly, I'd feel pretty empty right now if I'm a Jets fan.
I mean, you're a Leafs fan. It's even worse. You're
Is
hollow.
Is it?
Yeah, because you're I don't want to run it back, even though we, pushed the best team in the Eastern
but
Conference
I'm at peace with it. I'm at peace with it.
You sound really at peace. Yeah. Yeah. Optimism kills, right? Yeah. Anyway. All right. Graham, who are you giving your C to this week?
Corey Perry.
Nice.
So he has always been a difference maker, especially in the playoffs.
And some moms out there.
Since 2019 and 2020, he scored 24 playoff goals, which is more than Malkin, Crosby, Marner, Obi, and Matthews, just to name a few. He's played more playoff games at 227 than most NHL teams, including the Penguins, Lightning, Bruins, and Sharks, plus a lot more. So Corey Perry in the playoffs.
Yeah. Death, taxes, and Corey Perry. Yeah.
Amen.
He's fucking 40, man.
Yeah.
He can't keep getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it.
That's literally that meme. Oh my God.
That's the meme. Yeah. That's the meme.
God, this guy, he scores on and off the ice. He's probably got a hog too. Man, this guy. We don't want to glaze up
this guy.
We don't want to glaze him up too much, but yeah, I mean he's been a difference maker for Edmonton too, man. He on their power play, he's like the perfect centerpiece for that power play basically what he does.
He's perfect to sub in for Hyman's spot.
He's the best person in that power play, right? Absolute best one, except for one McPherson. I don't know that so much.
Nice. There it is. Was Corey Perry the first overall pick, or
he was not?
No. I think he was a second rounder or a late first. No. I think Getzlaf was 27, 28, and he was 3 or 4 picks later. Anaheim did well with that draft.
Memphis asked if he's like the LeBron of hockey. Not quite, but from an age factor, he is. From a longevity standpoint, I would argue, right? Because he's been playing for 20 years.
No. He
Maybe
was
not
never
as
that
accomplished.
good. He was
Maybe-
never the best.
Okay,
Like,
I'm just saying you're not listening to my argument. My argument is the longevity standpoint that Corey Perry has played as long as LeBron James has
But I
played
could
in the NBA,
I could come up with better
but
players.
I just said the accolades. aren't
I mean,
as-
so players still in this draft: Fleury, Eric Stahl, Ryan.
Fleury
Sear.
just retired.
Fleury just retired. Still going down. Parise,
from Yellow
Burns.
Timber,
Brent
No,
Burns.
Priest is gone. Priest hasn't played in years.
Yeah, I know.
Brett
that's
Burns.
what- yeah, Brent Burns.
Burns, I don't think he's.
I know, but how long's Perry got?
Well, ask
Still
Bernard's
in-
mom. Duh.
Still alive.
Nice. God. You are insufferable
All
on
right,
that one.
Anyway, yeah, that's one of my
Just
favorites.
because she
All
turned
right.
you down.
Yeah, I think you're not
Who
mad at
told you
him. You're mad
that?
at me.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, who told you? Anyway, all right. Well, we'll keep wrapping this down. Ayo. Speaking of wrapping it down,
Hey-o.
I'm gonna give my C to the Minnesota Frost. So they officially are the back-to-back Walter Cup champions in the PWHL. That's the Professional Women's Hockey League. They won it in 2025 and 2024. So shout out to the Minnesota Frost. And then Alex Pillow. I don't know if big racing podcast this is, but Alex Pillow won the Indy 500 on Sunday. The crazy part is, guys, they've ran 6 races in IndyCar series this year so far. He's won 5 of them, and he finished second in the other one. Yeah.
Jesus.
So he's a man on a mission right now. That Alex
Well
Pillow
said.
guy. Yeah, he's.
Are you
he's
saying his
the-
name right? Are you saying his
Yes,
name right?
I am.
Oh,
Yeah, because
okay.
I researched. Mike said it all day Sunday when we were at the Indy 500.
How nice of you to do research for that.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
well,
kidding.
I didn't do research for that. I just heard Mike say it all day Sunday, and like they have. Like, I went to the Indy 500, so they have like intercoms.
Where
over
was that?
in Indianapolis? What do you mean? That's where your favorite basketball team is. How do you not know that?
I mean, I know it now. Gosh.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean, also, do you know why it's called the Indy 500? Like, why does that number ever change?
Because that's the amount of miles they run.
I love how you just answered the question. Oh,
All right. Well, fair enough. Well, that was getting the C brought to you by SeatGeek. Again, make sure to download the SeatGeek app and use the
getting the
promo
C
code
with SeatGeek.
Old City Sports Network for $20 off your first purchase. And this is actually happening live, by the way. Our Instagram has been we suspect automated behavior on your account, so that's pretty fun.
Alton, were you doing
that
nefarious things?
That is not actually. That has nothing to do with us saying anything. I think that us we're just sitting here live. I'm not real sure, but I'll get that worked out. But anyway, we are the Between the Benches podcast. Make sure to check us out on your social media content, your Instagrams, which are a bunch of bums right now, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and anything else, guys, for the folks at home? Anything to add? Me and Graham will be live in your city this Sunday. Oh, I guess technically Saturday, so that should be a good time.
Wait, my city? You guys are coming here?
No, we're not going there.
Why?
No one goes
There's
there.
nothing there. There's not
Why?
even internet there, you bum.
Why? You guys planned your Happy Gilmore vacation yet?
Not yet.
I've got beds and a couch.
Nice. You need a publicist? I can make you big.
I can make it big.
Nice. I am bi, but what that is not one. There's a lot of bi things that I am, and Lingo's not one of them.
Hey, wait
Nice.
a minute. Did
I mean
I
to
mean to
say-
just say that? I don't think you did.
All right. Well, we're getting off the rails. From myself, Dak, Graham, Big Canada Daddy, Brock Finch, we're the Between the Benches podcast. Make sure to check us out. Next week, we'll come to you live with another episode. In the meantime, check us on the socials, and we'll see you then. And that concludes this week's episode of Between the Benches. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and check us out on YouTube. Also hit the like and subscribe button and look out for the next episode. Until next week, you Harley Riders.
Doc, what a fitting ending! This is incredible!